Yeah, I'd like to continue with love. Actions speak louder than words. Um, the funny and amazing thing about the word love is this is the definition that I found when I looked the word up. Um, love is a noun, an intense feeling of deep affection. Babies feel parents with feelings of love. Okay, fondness is a similar word to love, to that word, affection and love. A great intense and pleasure in something. His love for football. Liking, weakness, or partiality. Verb. Feel deep affection for someone. He loved his sister dearly. Okay. Like or enjoy very much. I just love dancing. Okay. What is the best definition of love? Definition of love. Strong affection for another arising out of kinship or personal ties. Maternal love for a child. Attraction based on sexual desire. Affection and tenderness felt by lovers. After all these years, they are still very much in love. What is the original meaning of love? Deep affection. The definition of love is a feeling of deep affection, passion, or a strong liking for a person or thing. So, these are basically the definition of the word love. All right, then we got what is the Bible's definition of love? Scripture, Corinthians 13, verse 4 through 8. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. So that's the biblical version of the word love. Let's see what the spiritual meaning. That said, spiritual love can refer to a love that is rooted in or supported by a deep spiritual connection that helps us find meaning in life. Sometimes these spiritual loves are meant to last, and sometimes they're meant to merely guide us in the right direction and then leave us to it. Alright, so my topic for today is love. Action speaks louder than the words. So when a person tells you they love you, you have to remember and always understand it's two different meanings. Because you have the word love and then you have in love. And those are the two. You can love a person just for being a human being, and you can love them for the person that they are. But you might not be in love with them. So it's a very, very different variable. And what, people nowadays, and especially in this day and time and walk of life, they use that word basically to a point where they throw it around without any meaning. See, you should have meaning attached to that word, not just say it just because it might fit in that present moment or because it might seem like the right thing to say. The love that you have for a person should come from an inner place internally. But at the same time, actions show how much a person loves you or how much a person's in love with you. And sometimes people blur the line with loving someone and being in love with someone. Because, like, the strangest thing that I have to come to realize is that when people say they in love with a person, sometimes the thing doesn't work. But if you were in love with that person, that part of that should never change, no matter if it works out or not. It should always be there. And sometimes I've had conversations with different people throughout my years, and every definition and everybody's example was different. So for me, it's just like, okay, with my understanding of life, like when a person says, they've been in multiple relationships, I have a hard time believing that being in those multiple relationships, they was in love with those individuals. Because this is just my opinion. Some people are going to agree to disagree. But once you're in love with one person in your lifetime, you can never be in love with another person again. And I'm going to get some kind of flack. I'm going to get some kind of response. I'm going to get some kind of, that's not true. But if you realistically think about what you're saying, that you are in love with every person that you've been with, that can't be true. That's got to be a lie. Because when you're in love with someone, that's something you giving that person everything of you. And I mean everything. Mind, body, and soul. I don't see how you can give that to that individual and then take it back. It makes no sense. Because that's something sacred. And people forget that sacred is a real word. Sacred is something that really, really has meaning. And for you to say, or to try to get me to believe that, hey, I've been in multiple relationships in my lifetime, and I was in love with every person that I was with, I find that hard to believe. I really do. Because that's a once in a lifetime experience. And sometimes when you fall in love with a person, and when you're really in love with that person, it's hard to break away from that person. It's hard to break away from your situation, whether it's good or bad. It's hard. I've heard people tell me it took years for them to leave situations because they wasn't in love with that person anymore. But it's like, how can you fall in and out of love with a person? Because love is supposed to be eternal. It's supposed to be everlasting. So how is it possible that you can fall out of love with a person, but as well as you can fall in love with a person? And I think about that from time to time, and I be curious about it, and I wonder sometimes, like, how is that possible? But everybody has their own experiences. Like me seeing a stranger, and they might say like it's a person that's like less fortunate, and they ask me for a dollar, or they ask me for some change or whatever, get them something to eat. So you go in and you take them in, if it's a place that they can find something to eat, and you pay for that food, and they say God bless you, and they say they love you. They are reflecting their feeling for the deed that you did for them. That means they truly appreciate it deep down in their soul, because you didn't have to do that for them. They could have continued to ask until someone decided to, look out for them, and that's a blessing. Does that mean that person's in love with you? No, it doesn't. It just means that person is showing you gratitude and appreciation for blessing them with that meal. But when you're in a relationship and you are a couple, and you want to surprise your significant other with a nice little token of appreciation and gratitude, depending on your financing, and depending on how much you take into consideration your significant other, their likes and their dislikes, and you decide their favorite shoe, or their favorite artist, or their favorite sometimes it goes as far as cars or whatever. Or it could even go as far as saying a home that they seen, and y'all decide and y'all want to start a home together. So you're gonna go out and you're gonna show how much you love them by your action and the word, by executing the action for them. And when you surprise them with it, because they're not expecting it. Some people are nosier than others, but they might not be expecting the gift, and you give it to them, or you take them to it, or you have them close their eyes and you have them, open your eyes, and then they like, wow, thank you. The emotion that they get from you doing that gesture, that kind gesture, I might add, that's an action of love. Or it could just be an action of acting, because some people are good at that too. But that word is a crippling word as well. It can cripple you through word, and it can cripple you through action, because you can love a person more than a person loves you. You can treat a person better than a person treats you. You can go above and beyond for this person and they still don't get it or value it. And that's when that word changes into something detrimental and heartbreaking, because you can love a person with all your mind, body, and soul, and you might not get that same love in return. You might not get that same respect, honor, admiration in return, gratitude and appreciation. And that's where love can be crippling. That's when love can be unkind. That's when love can be an issue and a problem. And sometimes people find themselves in those type of situations. But in my opinion, it's sad that it be like that, because I know whoever's listening to this today, you've been in a situation where you was interested in a person who might not have been that interested in you, but then you had another person that was crazy about you, but you wasn't interested in them. And that's sometimes how the way the world works at times. And that person that's really into you, that you're not into, wants the best for you, has the best intentions for you. And the person that you want, that's not really giving you the same in return, you want, just like it's the same thing with you with them. Sometimes people run behind people who don't really care for them, who don't really have their best interests in heart. And some of them can actually pretend that they really care when you have more of an interest in them than they have in you, and they'll use that to their advantage to be able to get certain things or achieve their agenda. It happens all the time. I know I was in a situation where I was talking to this chick, and she was crazy about me, and I just I had to listen to what she had to say. I was kind of I ain't the type of person that's superficial or nothing. So she was pretty to me in what I saw, but everybody else might not have saw that in her. And I had took her virginity and everything, so I was her first on any level as far as the male is concerned. So we hung out and we were kicking and things like that. But I'm not that interested in being with her as far as like relationship wise. Now, was I wrong? Depending on who your opinion. In my mind, I was young and I was just living life. I was in the streets, I was getting money, and I was cool with that. I had a little gig, I had a little job, I worked and everything like that too. A little hustle on hustle. So for the most part, I didn't think that deeply into it. I enjoy the company. I enjoy hanging out with her and everything like that. We went to the movies one night. When Friday first came out, we went to the movies and seen Friday at the theater. And it was funny because that's how long ago it was. So the amazing thing was she was head over heels for me, but I was just okay with hanging out with her, knocking her down whenever she wanted me to knock her down, which was all the time when I would come out there to see her. And it was funny because like I would park on the side of the road by their house, but I didn't pull up in the yard. So we would sit by the side of the road and just be like chilling. And we would mostly spend the time in the car and just talk, hang out, fuck, whatever, and go on about our business. And then we would talk on the phone. So enter my oldest son, mom. We had a situation where I needed somebody to ride with me to go pick up a package. I needed a decoy, whatever. So fast forward, me and her hit it off. Spending the little time doing that little exercise, and we ended up same day had sex. I was shitty because I had been practicing abstinence for like a year. So the song Minute Man shit, which was funny because when I think about it now, it was like it was just part of the your biosphere, like it was a part of that situation. I had been having sex, wasn't masturbating, nothing. Okay, I ain't performed well, and okay, cool. Now, mind you, I have this other chick that's crazy about me. Now, I'm not gonna say, my oldest boy mama wasn't crazy about me. We just started communicating with each other. So the more we talked and the more we got along, after it took a week for her to respond to me, then after that, I had her crying tears of joy. So, that's that. I made up, everybody don't get a second chance. She gave me a second chance to correct it, and I corrected it, and that's why he here. If I didn't correct the mistake and shit, I wouldn't. And then we ended up getting closer and closer, and then I think I had more of a liking for her, not just like a physical attraction, but just, kind of, she already had a little girl before I met her, so it was more like, I attached myself to her and the daughter. So now this other person, crazy about me, do anything for me. I had an allowance, and I would get money every Friday. I used to get an extra $250, $300 every week, every Friday when she got paid. And so in time, I think she was in love with me. Because first and foremost, emotionally, I was her first. She really liked me. She cared about me and everything like that. But I'm not thinking in that way, because you got to understand, I'm still young-minded and I'm still a young man, and I'm enjoying the fruits of hustling, and I'm enjoying the fruits of what attaches to that hustle. When you in the streets and you making money and you doing good for yourself, that attracts people. That brings people your way. When you look nice, smell nice, and carry yourself in a nice way, that's attraction. That's attractive. And so I'm like, I got to make a decision, because now I'm getting in this other situation a little bit more than I am with her. So eventually, I had to break the news to her and tell her, look, I appreciate all you've done for me, and I thank you for the times we shared, but like, I got an interest in someone else, and I'm gonna have to stop seeing you. The thing that I didn't understand then that I understand now is like, she was that much in love with me. She showed it through her actions and her words. Her mother, her sister, and I and her, it had a disagreement because someone told her sister boyfriend or baby daddy told her that girl give me money, and so she tried to confront me and had her mama get involved. So girl was finna fight her mama and her sister about me. So that let me know that that woman really was in love with me because she was willing to sacrifice it all just for me. But I just didn't feel comfortable with that situation because I don't never want no one to fall out with their family because of me. Because I'm not promised to them. I could be here today and be gone tomorrow like it ain't nothing. So the crazy thing is, I had to, that was another reason why it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, and I decided to go that route. Go the other way was because I didn't like that rift. Because then I know if I come around, I still know these people gonna feel some type of way about me. And I'm not saying that I always want people to like me, but when it comes to someone's family, I want to be able to get along and be respectful at the same time. As long as lines and boundaries don't get crossed, it's all good. And I felt like back then that wasn't going to be the issue because I know how it was with her sister's baby daddy, how they arguing and all that with him, and people getting in the midst of their relation. Like when he beat her, hit her or something, everybody now the mama, everybody up in Roy wanting to fight the man and all that, which I understand. It's protecting their loved one. And so when I made that decision, the young lady didn't take it well because she can only think of the fact that I was her first. She was head over heels and madly in love with me, and now all of a sudden I walk away, and the devastation on her face and the tears that I had, like I could just sit here and close my eyes and see running down her face as I'm telling her this. And she's like begging me, like, no, like, what do I need to do? And what is it I can change? And I'm like, nah, it's just that, I don't want you to have to pick and choose between your family because I knew it was going to never be the same. Once they had a dislike for me, that dislike was always going to be there. It didn't matter if they tried to fake it or not. And I didn't want to do that because I felt like that put a rift between our situation because I don't want to be beefing with your family or arguing with your sister every time I come around because she feels some type of way because of what her baby daddy told her. And it wasn't that he was lying, but it was just the fact that he was just a bitch ass nigga, and then down the road he ended up becoming a bitch ass nigga, a snitch and all that shit. But he supposed to be a street nigga, so that's neither here nor there. But that was just a sign of things to come in the future when it came to his character as a man. So that is what it is. And she was just trying to figure that shit out. She was like, what can I do? I'm like, sweetheart, I'm sorry. Like, that thing that happened with your mama and your sister, that thing left a bad taste in my mouth because it's like, I don't ever want you to feel like you gotta pick and choose me or your family because I would never put you in that position. She was like, I still want you to come get the money and all. I'm like, nah, I can't take your money, man. That's not cool. I said, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't want nobody to I wouldn't want to be doing that for somebody and they take my money. And that, and they not even rocking with me like that. Like, nah. But it was just her wanting to be in my company. It was just her wanting to be around me. It was just her like, caring about me. Like, she knew I was crazy about Jordans. I went and bought me some shoes, some J's for my birthday, which was funny. And I gave them back to her and all because I was like, nah, I didn't even wear them yet. I was like, here, take that back. She didn't want to take it. Like, it was like to see that side of a person in love with you was kind of scary too. Because if I ever got like that about somebody, I wouldn't want nobody to do me like that. But I understood, so I decided to pursue this other relationship. And I ended up, I had my daughter came later, then she pregnant with my little man. So now, we didn't really keep in touch after I decided to go, pursue this other relationship with my oldest son. Now the funny thing about it, she would see me around, speak to me, it was cordial, but she always like I guess the way she felt, it never changed. But then she started kind of acting out of character, and that's being in love with somebody would do. So one morning, I'm with my oldest son, mom, his oldest sister, and we're at her god sister house. So we laying in the bed, and we had our own room. So the young lady whose virginity I took, she happened to be there with her sister that didn't like me. So she seen my car outside. So she was like, oh, God sister was like, oh, they in the room, they in there sleep. So, old girl, so while she come in the room, while we're in the bed sleeping, they, the baby mama and me. So I happened to open my eyes, like she crept in that room like a burglar and walked in that motherfucker and said, she stood on the side that I was laying on, and she kept saying, you want your money? You want your money? And she pulled out a knot and fanned that shit out like a church fan. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why? What are you doing here? And she like, you want your money? And then she was like saying stuff under her breath, but she was saying, you want your money kind of loud to kind of wake baby mama up. So I'm like, man, like, go on, leave, whatever, like, get out of here. And so she kept pointing at me like, nigga, da 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 da. And I'm like, whatever. So she walks out the room and closed the door. So fast forward some time later, I'm running the streets. I'm consumed with that shit. I'm consumed with the money. So I get a phone call. It's this young lady whose virginity I took. I'm like, what's up? She said, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, well, what's up? What you need to talk about? She was like, I just seen your girlfriend in the car with another dude. So I'm like, what? Man, gonna stop playing. So she like, no, I seen them at Jiffy. I'm like, okay, so she might have been getting a ride. She was like, nah, she had the baby with her too. And she had on this little dress and looked like they was out on a date. I'm like, man, whatever. So then I'm taking it as, she's upset because we're not fucking around anymore. And so I'm like, man, you ain't gotta call me playing them games and all that, man. You just saying that because you mad with me because I'm not dealing with you anymore. She was like, nah, I care about you and I love you, and I don't want you to be looking like a fool. So she was like, I'm just telling you. So we got into an argument because I'm defending the person that I'm with. So some time went by. The conversation came up. Oh, girl, break down crying. I'm like, oh, shit. So it was true. So, she tried to explain, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, we damn near staying together. We at somebody else's place, but we damn near living together. So I was like, you know what? Now, this before little man got to the world. So I just was like, man, you know what? Fuck that shit. And I had to call the chick whose virginity I took and tell her, like, I apologize. You was right. That shit was true. And all she really was doing was trying to look out for me. She was trying to let me know, give me a heads up. Because she didn't want me walking around looking like a fool with this woman on my arm and she playing them games like that. And then she told me the story about what happened with her and the dude on the date. He tried to fuck with the baby in the car. Took her down on a side street after they left that store. And, it was kind of crazy to hear that. Cause I'm like, shit, what am I not doing? I'm changing your life, and it's like you don't appreciate it. So, time went on. Fast forward, I'm in a new location, and I bump into her years later. So we kind of like kicked off our old little thing we had going on back in the day. Cause I'm single at the moment. I ain't with nobody. You know what I'm saying? So when we was done with one of our little sessions, she had to tell me something, and I couldn't do nothing but respect it, because she always kept it G with me. She said, you know what? You're the reason why I treat men like I treat them, because you broke my heart. Because I was in love with you. I would have done anything for you. And I'm like, wow. For a person to tell you that, yeah, that's some real shit. I ain't even know how to respond, because I was more hooked on the fact that she treating men bad because of me and because of what I done. And I never wanted this person to hate me or have ill feelings towards me or nothing like that. I really didn't. I honestly, try to treat people as best as I want to be treated. So eventually she we cut things off. And we never got back to that place. But when I came home, and when I got out of jail in 19, I happened to be outside my parents' house, and she pulled up to her sister's house. God bless her sister's soul. Melody Stewart, God bless you. Like, that was my mother's neighbor. And she passed away in 20, car accident. So, me and her sister was cool. So she outside, talking about the chick who virginity I took. She's outside, I'm outside. But God put this on my heart for me to do. So I walked over there to her. When I was in jail, I said I gotta make amends to all the people I might have wronged, whether it was intentional or indirectly. And I really never intentionally try to do people wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But you do things and you don't even realize that the impact it has on people. So, I told her if there's anything I ever did to make her hate me, dislike me, rub her the wrong way, I apologize as a man, because she didn't deserve that. All she wanted to do was love me for me, and all she did was care about me. She didn't want anything from me. She didn't try to manipulate the situation or take advantage of it like most people did. She honestly cared for me. I just didn't realize it. So her actions is what let me know how much she loved me and how much she was in love with me. Now, hopefully, whatever man got her now, she's healed and she's overcame that. So that's why my subject of the day was love. Actions speak louder than the word. And that's true. When you love someone, whether you're in love with them or just love them, no matter who that individual might be, or situation could be, because you can have a love for what you do for a living. Like, you're supposed to love what you do for a living, because that's what makes it not a job. It makes it a career. When you love the things that you do. Anybody can say they love you, but does it have real true meaning behind it when they say it? Or is it just a word that they throw around? Like most people do. But hopefully, in due time, love conquers all. Hopefully, in due time, everyone finds someone to love. And hopefully, in due time, when you find out someone to love, y'all fall in love with each other for each other. Not monetary, not ulterior motive, strictly pure, raw emotion and pure, raw love. Like R. Kelly say, give me that honey love. I want honey love because it's sticky and sweet. And hey, man, that's what it is. This is another episode of Hood Tales with Conehead. I am Conehead. Thank y'all for listening, taking time out y'all life to give me y'all ear. And thank God for the content. Thank God for giving me the desire and the drive to actually pursue this and do this. Y'all don't understand. It's so dope to be able to talk about things and tell certain stories of your life story about things that you experienced and went through. You know. And hopefully for that young lady, she's healed and she's better. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes people try to help you dodge bullets that you don't even have to dodge if you just listen sometimes. But when you're young and you don't know no better, you know, you live and you learn. So hopefully this message touches somebody today, helps somebody today, shows a person today that, you know, love the one you're with. Be truthful to them. Be honest. Be real with them. Be loyal. Be trustworthy. And love will fall into that, and love will be a beautiful thing. Like when you see couples walking around and they've been together so many years and they still have that twinkle in their eye for each other, and that person can't see themselves without that person, and vice versa. That's a wonderful, beautiful thing. And hopefully in time, we all find that. Even myself. Maybe one day. Well, my Conehead family, I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. Like, subscribe on my YouTube channel, Hood Tales of Conehead, and you'll get the latest and the greatest from me, Conehead. And with that being said, I'm out.
We winning. Don't this shit feel like a movie, baby? Come on, baby. Roll up some, pour up some, crank up some, grab. Come on, man. Yeah. Dragging the bag all summer. We ain't never left, nigga. Bucket hat, gold. It's Mookie all summer. Sneaky boy shit, man. Sneaky boy. Back on my shit. This that shaking that bass. Effing in, bitch ass nigga, wipe that smile off your face. Give me that. Fuck out my face. Don't know how much I can take. Bad bitch, makeup artist want me to beat up her face. Come out, baby. I switched states, so I had to switch plates. Give me some money, suck my dick or get the fuck out my face. Later. My heart colder, but my car's newer. Now get that bitch some breathing room, so me and the sneaky boys can do it for her. Sneaky girl, this the sneaky world. My little niggas breaking in houses, eating perks, as the tires twirl. I want your bitch, I might sneak her some dimes. Treat her like a queen, but first make her get all the fucking people around her. Salvador Dali, you ain't heard of that. Fuck a shade, just take me up so they can see the words on my tag. Hollis and Davis on my chest, nigga. Represent that chopper shit, I let you figure out the rest, nigga. Sneaky girl, this is sneaky world. My little niggas breaking in houses, eating perks, as the tide swirl. I want your bitch, I might sneak her some dimes. Treat her like a queen, but first make her get all them fucking people from around. Sneaky girl, this is sneaky world. My little niggas breaking in houses, eating perks, as the tide swirl. I want your bitch, I might sneak her some dimes. Treat her like a queen, but first make her get all them fucking people from around. I'm on my shit, few ounce, I'm a brick. I should get petty with you and make you pay me for the flick. Been waiting on this, my money blue like a crip. Don't buy that car unless that motherfucking ceiling finna flip. The state mine, take Florida off your list. My rental car smelling like wing stops and bricks. It's summertime, I might lemon pepper the BMW. It ain't my fault that I'm ahead of you. I'm on my schedule. Bad bitch and she from Japan. Took that nigga sack and spun it on my left hand. Come here, baby, let them diamonds dance. Took that fuck nigga sack and bought a new van. Come here, baby, let them diamonds dance. Street nigga, no record company, no advance. Fuck it, but watch me still advance. Watch me get it out the mud like these dicky pants. Sneaky girl, this a sneaky world. My little niggas breaking in houses, eating perks, as the tide swirl. I want your bitch, I might sneak her some dimes. Treat her like a queen, but first make her get all them fucking people from around. Sneaky girl, this a sneaky world. My little niggas breaking in houses, eating perks, as the tide swirl. I want your bitch, I might sneak her some dimes. Treat her like a queen, but first make her get all them fucking people from around.